Hello and welcome to Green Horizon, a new frontier. In this special edition, we look at the integrated approaches incorporated at the Oshali project and investigate how organic fertilizers produced in Okahanja are contributing to greener fields at Olushanja. These projects are made possible by the Green Climate Fund in partnership with the Environmental Investment Fund of Namibia. In our last episode, we visited the Oshali farming projects where they harvest rainwater for their produce. Today, we're on site again, but take a closer look at their poultry and piggery project. To recap, the Oshali project is co-owned by the Shikomba family and the community on a 50-50 basis. While they engage in different farming activities, we start with the poultry and not dwell into what comes first, the chicken or the egg. The chickens here are hatched in these incubators and they can stay in them for up to 24 hours. Other than time periods, what else is important to know about incubators? Set up your incubators ahead of time in a quiet location. Constantly check the incubator's temperature and humidity. If the power goes out, do nothing at first, just wait for the power to come back on and continue incubation as normal. The hatching may be delayed as many hours as the power was out. Emmanuel Shatimwene, the foreman at the project, is responsible for the delicate job of making sure that these chicks are nursed. They are kept in an enclosed room to keep them safe from natural forces such as wind and cold. They are then put under a heat bulb. But why? Baby chicks kept with their mothers do not need light at night and get warmth from their mother. However, new chicks hatched without a hen do need warmth and they do need a little light at night. Typically, chicks who are not with their mothers can get both warmth and enough nighttime lighting with a heat lamp. After the first 14 days, they are moved to another enclosed room where they are still under a heat lamp, but most of this intensive care is no longer needed. A week later, they are moved to another enclosed room that will prepare them for life on the farm. The chickens bred here are Bosveld chickens. What makes them special?
Ihadi penana adi drungo kutunge shiringe ngoda kwato konkifi tadrungo musengo nande tatu ali adi drungo sama doveno diringo ina difana nambale kwadi ko ihadi kwato kwatana na ko mikifi to di lilengo kudiko ambala.
The farm produces between 80 to 120 chicks, which goes to slaughtering, whereas others are sold as chicks to prospective clients. The chicks are fed pullet growers from 2 to 3 weeks, but they are kept in the batches that they came with when they hatched. Shatimwene explains again why this is important.
So iatuva tura mumwena avenya hashi kaveshi voshidalelo shimashi ya atuningene nga uchashi abo wakula venya washikula kona tanga welinga vo va atuningeno mikif nene hashi venya bashani todru waturu mwena watadwa muno mbuto na ndokuli nale beno mkifi enyeta adru kufira manubu.
After they have gone through their orientation process, they are moved to the general population. Here, they are raised in the best environment possible. They will start producing from about 5 to 6 months. In the Awambo culture, there is a myth that a white chicken is a symbol for poverty. So, such chicken are not often farmed with, considering the rare chance that this Rhode Island white chicken makes it through nonetheless. It might be our next lunch next week or the next time we visit here. The Oshali project also have Sussex in their care. They are mainly used for selling and also for breeding. It's generally recommended that you have 8 to 10 hens for each rooster to ensure the rooster can divide his time adequately without causing undue stress to the hens. Hens who are being subjected to too much mating may show damage around the head, neck and combs as a result of being repeatedly mounted. At Oshali, they have lowered that ratio to 1 rooster for every 4 chickens. The chickens lay their eggs and then the eggs are collected. It is important to note that the eggs for the Sussex and the Bosveld differ.
Cha ava wadi de mayo de fango disho naga difike pamwe na je hwa kulalela tuya tueta ponelita la nawa wa mone upsu uhapunen patwa kipinga boike ule o shivike shata tara konduda okukuna ko kuno incubator gasha ae huwadi ngashingodinya dio pinya tata menga kukuli kila kunya Bosveld huwadi mwedile ngona tango dili okwa tu difana Sussex dili ngok atuke dimona ngasha tikwi awakutokaleli pima patalana opwa no kupiane kwa ngona ndokuno nava we momu we vatatule and so on.
The Oshali project also has piglets. They, however, had to slaughter a number of them because of the outbreak of the African swine fever, which was rogue in April. They now primarily cater for wedding and for their butchery. Time for a break, but when we return, organic fertilizer could be the solution for the ailing green skins in the country. Stay tuned. You are watching Green Horizon, a new frontier. This episode was made possible by the Green Climate Fund in partnership with the Environmental Investment Fund of Namibia. In 1894, horse carts were the biggest and the preferred mode of transport in developed Europe, with London leading the way. But the horse manure was just too much for the city. It was dubbed the Great Horse Manure Crisis. The problem was eventually solved by the proliferation of cars, which replaced horses as a means of transportation in big cities. Fast forward to present day, and you will find that Namibia has plenty of cattle and horse whose manure go unused. Johan Larish has found a way of creating a lasting solution to what he considered to be less than ideal Namibian soil structure. He started Greenfields 12 years ago and has had enough trial and errors over the years to find a solution that would treat the soil and help the crop thrive. Today on site, Greenfields is having a truck full of manure being offloaded from the Okahanja horse stables. This is but a first step to creating the perfect formula for different clients. But is it a one-size-fits-all solution?
It has different specifications for different crops, for different soils. So what we do is we will analyze the soil. Once we know the position there, then we will use the product that will fit there, and we will apply in combination with other products that we do in order to address all soil conditions, like for instance pHs, for instance calciums, magnesiums and phosphates. That is all conditions that we have to address, and then we'll come to the nutritional value of the product in order to produce the maximum and have the best yield that is possible. That Namibia has got difficult soil samples, soils to produce in. It is not easy, so we had to address the status of the soils to make sure that the products we use is fitted and suitable for Namibian conditions, not other countries. I'm referring to Namibian. It's very important to understand that we have to speak about our Namibian soil conditions, water conditions, and climatic conditions.
According to the soil deficiency of the client, the workers here start to take the mixture with manure first through a rolling screen which has different outlets. This allows the different composition of manure from rough to fine. The various form will be used in different mixtures for greenhouses, pottery plants, etc. Then the mixture is loaded and added into an electric mixture. Depending on the particular soil, one needs organic carbon, phosphate or magnesium to be added. Water is also added because it makes up about 12% of the mixture. So why is manure itself not considered to be fertilizer as such?
We cannot call any kind of manure a fertilizer. We should call it a remedy, an agricultural remedy. Now that means simply that if you analyze the manures in the laboratory, it will show you that the nutritional values are very, very low. So therefore it cannot be classified as a fertilizer, but yes, as a remedy. We have to register remedies with our registrar in the Ministry of Agriculture, and these remedies we use in conjunction together with the N's, the P's, the K's, the micro and the macro elements. It's very important to understand that it is a formulation of different elements that should give us the ideal composition that we are using. And to prove that we are doing this right, we can only say, look at Olusanja farmers. They are successful. They've been there for years. They're growing. When we started 6 years ago, there was only 26 farmers at Olusanja. Today there's 97 farmers.
The fertilizers have made their impact in the far north of the Oluchanja, where over 100 small-scale farmers uses greenfield organic fertilizers on their crops, which has yielded incredible results. Sylvanus Nyango speaks of the benefit he has encountered.
Yeah, that have worked quite well. At first we never knew how it works, but later on we tried them and see how they work better. As you can see crops here, the plants that you can see, tomatoes here, they are mostly organically produced because we only used the greenfield fertilizer, which actually was made in Okahanja and made, meaning produced in our country, meaning they are so affordable and they are organically based comparing to the other fertilizer that we used to use. The other fertilizer that we are dependent to those days, they were from South Africa, and as you know, if we are not the producer, the beneficiary are normally those who created, who made those fertilizer. And as of levers for this one, EIF has at least funded us to see as to how this one is working, and we really find this one is working and is benefit to the crops. Benefit to the soil in the sense that it is organic, and as such they are adding the humus component. The organic carbon is improved in the soil, and these benefits we cannot find them in inorganic fertilizer. So actually it really improved the soil structure, and for a long time it is staying in the soil, unlike the inorganic fertilizer. We are mostly came together as the association to make sure that we have the power of production so as to supply the intended market, but also to share technical advices to each other, so that when we have problems like penetrating the market, we go together. When we have technical problems, production problems, then we can share the problems with each other, so that we cannot isolate ourselves. When times become hard, we see as to how we can encounter hardship.
Echoing Nyango's sentiment is his supplier, Larish, who points at the difference between the NPK fertilizers and the organic fertilizers.
The difference is mainly, if we start off with, you need to have a capacity in the fertilizer that you use that will build the status of your soil. You cannot cultivate soil year in, year out, and you don't feed your soil. I mean, if you look at cattle farming, people make sure they feed their cattle, they give it medicine, and you don't do it with plants. It's not going to work. You firstly have to feed your soils. Now with chemical, there's no chemical product that can increase your soil status. It is absolutely impossible. So that is why we bring a 45% of organic materials to our mixes. We bring a 15% organic carbon to it, and then we bring the N's, the P's, the K's to a smaller extent, and the micro elements. All that in combination we do, and then you find the product that you see lying on the floor here.
Nyango has 21 hectares under drip irrigation and produces cabbages, tomatoes, butternut, onion and chilies among other crops. He has called on educational institutions to have field day visits to their sites so that graduating scholars can have first-hand experience on how to produce efficiently.
There is really limited organic pesticides that we can use here, and the technology is really need to be boosted up. Our higher institution of learning need really to come here. Their outreach program, they need really to be field oriented, not the campus oriented. As of now, when it comes to agriculture, our institution of higher learning, whether it's Ohangwena, which is here by our University of Namibia, they should be field-based and come and associate with farmers so that we can see as to how we can handle these problems of pest and so. Yes.
Greenfield's fertilizer producer Lerir states that organic fertilizers could be the solution for the struggling green schemes in the country.
Yeah, the big difference is the approach. My clients at Olusanja and those areas are striving. I don't know of anybody there that is bankrupt. We have come away for about the last 6 years. I've been supplying them, and they're making a success. It is because we address the soils properly, we do the applications according to the different crops, and if you compare that to the green scheme, I mean, there's no comparison. The green schemes are bankrupt. We all know that. Why are they bankrupt? It's because mismanagement. It's because they don't look after their soils. They use, for a start, they use chemical, conventional products, and they've been doing it all the years. There's no improvement. The soil management side in the green scheme has been neglected, and it still is. And that is why those green schemes are bankrupt. They never made it, and my clients make it. The situation will change, but the organic product that they use should be from Namibia. Very simple, because we manufacture according to Namibian needs. Now, in the past, organic products has been coming in from South Africa. All different kinds of organic products. Now, firstly, it's very costly to transport these things from South Africa to here. Secondly, we are a Namibian organization that's been in existence for 12 years. So why support the South African product? Where is the South African specialists? The guys that know and that can have and provide technical advice. It's easy to run across the border to come and sell their products, then they run back with the money that they made in Namibia, which, to my opinion, is not right.
Lerich also introduced a Mahangul fertilizer which is produced to hold the water capacity and hopefully double the Mahangul yields.
Never, as far as we know in the history of Namibia, has there been a product aimed at the Mahangul market. That is very important, because our Mahangul farmers, they normally They just plant Mahangul and they wait for the rain without managing their soils, which is understandable. There's a reason for that. If you take a conventional product like urea or any of those, you put it in the soil, you wait for the rain, you get a rainstorm of say 30 millimeters, that product is gone. It's completely gone, so you wasted your money. So that is why we over time has developed the CM+P product, especially for Mahangul. The C stands for carbon, organic carbon, which is very important for Mahangul. It is important to lift up and to rectify the chlorophyll levels, which has to be right in order for the Mahangul to produce. Then the M stands for manure. It's different kinds of manure that we have in here. It's chicken manure and it's cow manure and horse manure, a blend of them. Plus the P, that's the phosphate, that's the bone meal part, natural P. So this product will not wash away with a rainstorm. It has got holding capacity. It will sit in the soil. It will stay there. It will hold the water. It will hold the different elements that it's got in here. It will not wash out. It will not just drain away. That makes the big difference. That is why hopefully we can start with a Mahangul industry, with people where they now get an average of 300 to 400 kilograms per hectare. That's the yielding they have now. We can hopefully increase this to double those amounts.
The product, according to Lerich, needs 300 kilograms to cover a hectare and should significantly improve the soil while increasing the yield in Mahangul fields. Always gaining new perspective. We have now come to the end of this episode and hope you have learned a thing or two. Next week, we continue with efforts by the EIF to ensure water security in the Oshikoto region. A tall order awaits. Until next time, bye-bye.